Good evening and welcome to Real Talk on SABC3. The stage is yours. I'm Azania Mosaka. Tonight we are jazzing it up and taking you to church at the same time with our very special guest who gives us the works of her heart through her music. She's been dubbed the Queen of Afro Jazz and she has multiple awards, albums and the voice to back it up. By the way, she became a household name and the woman who is so celebrated locally and internationally. And she was just trying her luck, by the way, at the Shell Road to Fame and Jam Alley. But today she's here to tell us exactly how a cry, a smile, and a dance transformed her name from just Judith to the Judith Sephuma that we've now come to know and love. Judith, you are going wow. Do you love hearing all of that about yourself? Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It sounds like you're talking about someone else, but you know what? I'm so excited.
It sounds so unreal.
Happy. It sounds unreal because, you know, when I think back of when it all began, it's like, okay, this is where we are now.
All right, let's go there. Let's go to where it all began. So there you are, growing up in Seshego.
Yes.
A little girl. When did you first discover you could sing?
You know what? It was like, I was just an irritation. I promise, that's what my mom used to say. They're like, you know what, we're now TLH, everywhere. So I would sing everywhere, whatever opportunity, whatever chance that I got, I'd be singing. And I think my mom said to me that when I was 2 years old, I would be in town at the set of robots and I'd just create a song. And she'd be wondering, what song is that and where did she get that song from? So that's when you know that, you know what, a child has got a gift or an urge or you know. And otherwise, I was a tomboy. I used to love playing soccer with boys.
I can see.
You
were that kid.
Right?
Open up.
Yeah. And then, you know, she used to actually say, why are you playing with boys? Go find girls. Dolls never did it for me. Like,
really?
No. I wanted a soccer ball. But now, I mean, I hardly ever watch soccer, only when I have to. But otherwise, I was just that girl. Yeah.
So why were you not playing with the girls? What was going on with your relationships with them?
I don't think there were that many. Or if they were very conservative. Maybe they were, they kept too much to themselves. And it was that thing, 4 o'clock, you must be at home. You know, so now 4 o'clock, we're starting to play. Or they are cooking. Now I've cooked at like 2 o'clock. Or I don't cook because, you know, she's going to come back and cook. But otherwise, it was a very strict, you know, village where I was. So.
But you were good at debating as well. So no wonder your mother was always saying, shata.
Yeah.
You were good at debating. So you have quite a mouth on you.
Talking. Oh my goodness. I love talking, Azania, I tell you, know.
Yeah.
But debating, yes. I was actually one of the top 5 at school. And we would be taken out to outdoor matches. And listen, it was so much fun because I actually did so good so that they can pick me to go out to Transkei or wherever, because I knew they would ask for the trips, and also more than anything, I knew they would ask for an item. Somebody must render an item, and I knew they were all looking towards me. I mean, I didn't have a stage at that time.
I haven't heard that phrase in such a long time. Oh my gosh, to render an item. Could we please have someone to render an item?
Yeah, and that man would say loud, hey, do we have somebody to render an item? Before he finishes the item, my hand is right up.
Right.
You know, and that's where I got my first millions.
Your first millions?
Yeah.
People threw money at you from one occasion, right?
I promise you, the exchange rate now is not doing so well. Back then, 20 rands was a lot of money.
You once made 120 rands from rendering an item.
Listen,
for a little kid.
20 rands.
Wow.
Like, it was a lot of money. And it came in form of coins. It possibly was more. And then, but I remember the 20 rand paper because that's the one that I kept for a very long time.
Do you remember what you used to like to sing while you were rendering?
Yes. I used to love singing. I think I sang Paradise Road more than I should. Wow. I sang that song until it did not have no more Paradise Road in it.
But Judith, you know what that song does to anyone who hears it?
Yes.
It has such a special place in the hearts of South Africans.
I was possibly about 13 when it happened, or 11 even when it happened. So I was that girl.
And the choirs? I mean, if you're performing in a choir and you like to be at the front, this must have caused some tension.
They didn't think I could sing in that choir. I remember very well. My teacher never used to like me. She would always put me kumaraho, and then I wanted to lead all the time, and I was not the one who leads, and that's when I got even more crazy. I was like, no, I will sing somewhere. I will sing, you know, and it happened. So,
yes. Yeah. Now, let's talk about Brenda Fassie.
Hey, that moment.
Because that moment,
Yeah.
what made you leave your home to go and find someone who was the biggest superstar in this country
Yeah.
at the time? What
Yeah.
made you do that?
It was a drive, you know, the hunger and the belief. I had so much belief in myself. I trusted in myself so much because I knew that I would grab, you know, something would move her. And I remember I was listening to Anita Baker yesterday on TV and at the BT Awards, and she said that, you know, all of us who are starting out, all of the artists that are starting out, tap somebody who has come before you and grab their attention, you know? And that's exactly what I did years ago. I just saw her sitting in a combi and I said, you know what, that girl, I had run away from home, you know, at 13.
Why?
Because nobody was taking me to Brenda Fassie and there was this age restriction thing and I was tall, so I thought I can get away with it. So I got away with it. And there was a fence, ne? I promise you, that fence, that day I had so much, yes, called the Chinese port. I had so much power, I pulled that fence out and I snuck under, I checked the security guards, there was nobody. And I ran to Brenda Fassie. By the time I got her, I was already in tears. Because I said, you know what, I want to sing and I don't know where to start. Those were my words to her.
What did she say back?
Can you sing? And I said, yes. And she said, sing for me. And she was so relaxed, she didn't even move. And I started singing, early on Monday morning. And she moved her legs. She had her legs up on the window with the door open and she put her legs down. And she said, what? You know, when Brenda got excited, she got excited.
Yes.
So she was so excited, she said, stop. She took me into this room where all of the musicians were there and they were performing like 2 hours before the time. And she got everybody to just sit around and back me.
Back you?
Yes. The whole entire band, all of them.
As a 13-year-old?
Yes.
That must have been incredible.
It was one of the most amazing moments of my life. And I sang that song, all of it, and she said to me, do you know Too Late for Mama? I laughed at her. I'm like, you're insulting me because I know every word. I know every way you breathe on every song. And I mean,
You'd been studying her, clearly.
I was loving her, you know. And then we went on stage, we did Too Late for Mama. And I remember my sister Rami, she was the first one that I heard call my name in the audience. She shouted, Lalo, because my name is Lalo for peace, Brenda for peace. And she said, Lalo, and she was screaming, you know, and I sang Too Late for Mama. And Brenda gave me that part, she tried hiding another dream to say the job. And the audience, oh my gosh, the audience, because they knew, you know, I was known as Ngwana Says Mimi, Mratwa Tabo. I got so famous. I got so famous, I tell you, but I didn't think, you know, in an instant, but I knew on that day that my life was different, that I was not an ordinary girl.
Yes.
I knew, I
so
had to
when
know.
that bug took even harder, like a greater grip on your love for music.
I can still feel it even now, it hit, you know, and from that day onwards, I mean, there were people coming to my house and my mom refused media. My mom refused all of them because she didn't understand. She just thought they were going to steal me or something. And then eventually Brenda Fassie asked me to come live with her for a month. At that time, we had a lot of riots at school, so there were no school.
I remember the 80s.
Oh man, it was crazy, you know, and I left. And in some way, I think possibly she saved my life because I would have been involved in those riots and got hurt or worse. So I went to go stay with her for a month. And I believe in that month of staying with her and doing all the tours with her and being, you know, the little girl, the youngest in the band, of wearing these short skirts. I never used to like showing my legs and I would be so like, ooh, I would want to cry, cover them up. I'm sitting there like this, you know, and I promise you on that trip, I made some serious decisions about my life because
That's incredible, because I can imagine the adjustment as well. Here you are, this girl from Seshego, you're coming to Johannesburg, you're living with the biggest superstar in the country, and we know what that life was like at the time. Hillbrow was buzzing. All these people with big dreams were coming to Hillbrow. It was just this melting pot of a lot of creatives, people expressing themselves. So as a child, that must have been a whole new big world.
And overwhelming as well.
Yes.
And earning money that I was earning at that, and I would get the money that I was being given, I was sending it home to my mom because I didn't know what to do with it. So, and I mean, I was not supposed to even be working according to me at that age. But one thing that changed my mind was really all the weed that I saw and more made me decide, okay, this is not my life. This is not what I want, just from seeing and not participating. And I decided, no, I'm going to go home. And I left. And I went home. And when I got home, I finished. When I finished, ooh, man, I wanted big things now.
Of course.
I wanted bigger and greater things.
We'll work ourselves closer to
Yeah.
all of that
Yeah.
era at FUBA, that era at
Yes.
UCT. But how do you feel that you honor her?
It's I don't have a choice, because she gave me the most amazing hope. You know, I used to want to be like her, and I learned that I cannot be like her.
You found yourself.
I found myself, because there can never be another Brenda Fassie. We can only be inspired by her.
Yes.
And that's it.
And I think there's no better way. There's no better way.
Absolutely.
Wow. Right. Whew. I'm just loving Judith's come up. So growing up in the 80s and 90s and listening to the likes of Brenda Fassie is one thing, but going out of your own way to track down the Brenda Fassie at a time when social media and cell phones did not exist really speaks volumes about the sheer courage, the determination, and the tenacity that Judith had. So you would like to think that being given this chance to sing for the Idol was good enough. But as you've just heard from Judith, it just wasn't. It was only the beginning of her journey to becoming. So we'll explore more of her journey after the break. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the song that heralded the rise and rise of Judith Sephuma, putting her on the map that saw her attracting interest and acclaim from jazz and Afro-soul music lovers all over the world. A Cry, a Smile, a Dance was released in 2001, and the album has since reached triple platinum status. Take a bow. The lady of the moment, Judith Sephuma, is with us to tell us more about her journey. You know, Judith, like when we looked at you coming onto the show, this has been the earworm. This has been the song that I've been waking up to, thinking, singing it in my head, humming it as I go through the day. Absolutely adore it. And when you first saw the lyrics, when there was an opportunity for you to record it, did you know immediately?
I didn't know, but I remember I was playing it in the other room, and I was like, I know he's working on that song for his own album.
Right.
And I thought, I had a small baby. She was the very same one who's here with me. She was 4 months old. And I was like, this dude is playing. That's my song. This dude is not serious about his career. This is my song. And I said, can I try that for my album? And he agreed.
Wow.
And he was just playing it on guitar. And then we went into the studio. It was such a beautiful, it turned out so beautiful.
It did.
Yeah.
There's something, you know, there's certain works of art
Yeah.
where you feel like there was a transcendence, there was a much greater hand at work.
Yes.
And in so many ways, in some of your work, this is one of them. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same?
Absolutely, because I remember I had postnatal depression, a big one.
Yeah.
At that point. And in that time, I did not even understand what postnatal depression was. And when that song was written that way and it came out that way, it gave me so much hope.
Yes.
You know, and there was something, energy that went into it that was supposed to give people hope.
Yeah.
Supposed to bring people together, you know, supposed to heal me, you know, and it did exactly that. Absolutely. So it's one of those songs that even when I when I sing it, man, I have so much fun with that song. I can sing it a million times different.
I'm sure people don't even let you.
No,
South
don't let
Africans
me.
love to sing along.
Listen, and I don't like South Africans. I don't like that.
Really? Yeah. Because we go to concerts to hear ourselves sing the
Whoa,
artist's lyrics.
They sing that part. They want you to sing that part. They want you. And when I go to, there's a part, they'll be singing it for me. I'm thinking I want to go like, they don't want me to go there. Stick to the script, Judith. You know?
You must just make peace with it.
I have.
Once and for all.
Listen, I have. Even Oleta Adams, I was sitting with her and I said to her, why do you always have Get Here on your program? And she says, because I cannot live without it. It is I've made peace with it. This is the song that made her. And she cannot do anything about it. And I said, okay, now I get it. It cries my song, me and her, we are one. Yes, my song. It's
woven into your skin.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
the beauty of your journey is that you got exposed in this profound way to this side of the music business through your relationship with the late Brenda Fassie.
Yes.
But then even at that time, you knew the value of education. You finished your high school. You went to FUBA.
Yes.
And it's a pity that the legacy of FUBA and institutions like that has somehow just dwindled. What did it do for you being in that space with other young people similar to you who wanted to access this opportunity and be somebody in this industry?
It made me understand the importance of my gift. It made me understand that as much as doctors go to study for, their gift, doctors have a gift, or anyone rather. I have to know what my gift is about. So vocal training for me meant something else. It meant, okay, what if I'm going to sing this note here to attack the next note, what do I think of and how do I get there? And what happens when I'm sick? And what are my vocal cords? I mean, I went all the way to even an ENT specialist to go look at them, for him to put a camera down so I can see what they look like, and for him to explain to me what those are and what happens when we sing. How do they vibrate and what color should they be for them to stay pure, and what happens when I have a sore throat, all laryngitis, I know so much about all of that from just being curious and studying. And when I got to University of Cape Town, it was another thing, same thing as well. It changed my life because then that was another level of education for music. Because there, you are not just learning about your gift, you're learning about the craft in general now.
And you were in the hands of people like, what was it, Professor Campbell?
Professor Mike Campbell, yes.
Mike Campbell. And then on top of that, you worked with
Daryl Andrews as well.
Virginia Davids.
Oh, that's my lady.
People like Pretty End.
That's my girl.
Wow.
That's my, you know what? She told me 4 years after taking singing lessons with her every single day, twice a week, and then I had to practice on my own every single day. There was no day whereon I did not spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes on exercises. And she told me only after 3 or 4 years that now you're getting it. Judith, you're getting it. I'm like, what?
You're thinking, I thought I had it.
Everybody thinks I'm it. Yeah, we talk about Judith. Judith is the girl.
Yes.
And you're telling me that I'm about to.
I'm that far from my 10,000 hours.
After 4 years. And the money we're paying at the school. And you know what? I understood it when I did my exam. And they gave me the hardest song ever, an aria. And it was not so easy to learn it because it had a lot of movements. It's almost like Ave Maria, but it's not quite, but it's deeper. So I learned there that music is really, really so deep. And when the opera vocal training, classical vocal training is the best for anyone.
Any genre, any
discipline.
genre,
yeah. You're a jazz singer, go learn your scales. But the scales don't actually give us the range.
Yes.
Classical training gives you the range and it gives you the depth.
So when you're on stage, I imagine having this kind of confidence.
Yeah.
That is this firm foundation.
Yeah.
That must take away any fear. Or are you still fearful when you step on stage?
No, there's no time for fear. It's fun up there. It's beautiful. People, you're going to sing in front of thousands of people and they're excited to see they're going to clap hands.
Yes.
That hand clapping is the one that's supposed to make you relax. Some people, it makes them nervous. But me, I'll be like, oh my God, let me just sing that first note.
You are in your element.
I'm in my element.
I've heard an artist say that when they're on stage, it's when they feel closest to God.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You've got so much power up there.
Wow.
You can actually use it well, really well, or you can abuse it. And that very same power can destroy you.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Does
you've
it
got
scare
it
you
all.
though?
It does.
Because power can
Yeah,
scare
it
you.
does. It does. You have to be scared with that kind of power. You see, that the one thing that I've always said is that, you know, God gave us this gift, not for us. You know, it's not for me. The fact that I can sing to 10,000 people and do something to them, it means the gift is not meant for me. I'm just a vessel. I'm just a carrier.
Yes.
So the only thing I can do is just to honor and respect the gift. You know, treat it well, and know that when you get up there, someone who's in that audience is so waiting, saying, I want to hear Christ my dance, because there's something they're getting from the song. So that's how deep I think of performance.
Wow. It certainly translates.
Yeah.
It comes through. We hear it. We see it in your passion. Whew. Right. We have to take a quick break, but make sure that you stay tuned for more with my guest, Judith Sephuma.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Real Talk here on SABC 3. The stage is yours. Our guest today, the prolific Judith Sephuma, has performed at all major jazz festivals in the country and in front of international audiences alike, and has on all occasions left audiences wanting more. Before I get carried away, just raving about the songstress of ours, let's get back to her story. I absolutely adore that song.
Oh, me too.
It's an amazing way of honoring our parents, honoring our mothers.
Yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
What's the relationship that you have with your mother?
You know what? You're going to make me cry, but I won't. My mom passed on last year, October. We buried her in November. So she was the inspiration behind the song. The reason being, I've seen her, you know, work so hard to make sure we have a good life. From like the lowest salary you can ever think of, but we never felt it. We only knew about it later, and that's why, you know, the song came out. And we were not raised in a time where on the hugs were important and Mama I love you important. Only later on did that come up.
Yes, so much had to do with survival.
Exactly, you know. And when I was able to tell her, the best way for me to tell her was through a song, and she was an inspiration behind the song. And I realized that a lot of our younger generation now, they can, but they don't know how to say certain things to their moms. And I was saying, you know what, I'm the voice.
Yes.
Use me.
Yes.
So it has a special meaning to me. It'll always have a special meaning for me.
And, you know, it's often the ties and the things that bind us intergenerationally, they can be so complex.
Yeah.
You know, our children heal us, we heal our parents.
Yes.
So for me, that song is also loaded in that kind of way, you know.
Absolutely.
So well done for it. Well done.
Thank you.
But let's go back to when you were creating this career.
Yeah.
Because while you were studying, you had the honor of performing at former President Thabo Mbeki's inauguration.
Oh my goodness.
Could you believe it? Could you believe your luck?
Listen, when you were talking about even that, I had to fly to New York. That was my first shock ever in my life, with our ex-president Nelson Mandela, with in first class, by the way, for the first time. I think I was in my 20s. I was not even known. A Cry Smile and Dance was not even out, and we flew to New York for Kofi Annan's installation. Wow. My goodness, and it was so cold. I was like, oh, I didn't know how to sit. I was like,
you're used to that Limpopo heat again.
yeah. Get a you? Should I? When they bring drinks, I'm like, thank you.
That means we have to pay and I don't bring money. Don't worry, the late Miriam Makeba in her book talks about literally changing into her pajamas, into her nightie on the flight. Like, the lights are put off. So she went and put on her gown and nightie, so don't worry.
Oh my goodness. It was the most amazing moment. And to have to spend an entire 4 days with, with him like that, it was amazing for me. And then singing, at the inauguration, Thabo Mbeki was just, President Thabo Mbeki was just something else. It was me and Jimmy Dludlu, and I remember Manu Dibango was there. Brenda Fassie, I think, was there. No, was she there? No, she wasn't there. But Manu Dibango was there, and being around all those people for me, that's when I even realized even more that, there's something great that I carry.
Yes.
And I can never, ever take it for granted.
And even Hillary Clinton, right? You performed
for Hillary
in front of her
Clinton,
as well.
man. And I was all over media in the US. I got calls. They were saying her girlfriend. It was crazy with Hillary. And I tell you, until today, they still mention that clip, because we danced with Hillary. But the way she had so much fun, I was so happy to see her like that. She had so much fun, and we showed her how we as Africans do it.
Absolutely.
It was really, 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 really awesome.
So let's go back though.
Yeah.
Because here we are talking about the highs that you reached.
Yeah. But
But you also had to enter competitions.
yes.
Shell Road to Fame, the Jam Alleys of this world. Is that file? Is it in the box that you don't look at?
Yeah. Like,
You've hidden it far away.
the outfits that I wore at the time, let me tell you, if you took that and you took that, you only know with the voice, oh, this is her. I promise you.
Unrecognizable.
Was it
the tomboy?
Yeah, the tomboy who could not, I had no idea how to color code, how to wear, I can't wear, those don't touch pants. I couldn't tell the difference that they were too short now. And remember those, what do you call the shoes with platforms, but the rubber ones?
Oh, yes.
Now I was hot when I wore those because, I didn't have money at varsity, and that was for Jam Alley. And they played it recently on another program, and people were having such fun, and I was having so much fun as well. The hair, I had so much hair, still dreadlocks though, but they were thicker than this. And let me tell you, those are moments that I cherish. I love them. They were such fun.
Yeah.
I was wearing a red jacket. I don't know where I got that jacket from, and some white. Oh, Lord, thank you for deliverance.
From time to time, you must revisit these embarrassing moments. You must revisit them. But you didn't win the competitions. Was that like a blessing in disguise in your view?
Yes, yes. I was actually, that's another lesson, rather, because I knew that I had sung my best, and I remember the song until today that I sang. And that song was written by a lady, Mani Khrovia, called Shining. And that was the most beautiful song ever. And because I did not win, it made me realize that I can never, ever think I have arrived. Never, ever think you've made it. And also, there is never, ever a time whereon you must say, I've learned enough.
Yeah.
You never stop learning, and that was one of those moments. I promise you, I was so humbled from there because the guy who won it, I don't know what's his name, but I don't know where he is now.
Yeah.
And everybody after that said, you should have won it. And I said, no, I was not supposed to win it because my journey is a part of that. I had to continue on that journey and keep learning even more.
And it tells you that you're not entitled to it. You're not entitled to it.
Absolutely.
Yes. It'll work out in the way it's intended
no
to.
entitlement, yeah.
There's so many lessons. There's so many lessons where it may be one down for jazz because Judith has now released a gospel album, but it's definitely a huge gain for gospel. And our guest, Judith Sephuma, seems unstoppable, selling out shows and revealing sides to her that keep us wanting to hear more. And more is what you'll get after the break. Life is so full of amazing things, but in between these great encounters, we sometimes come face to face with bad experiences. And our guest today has had her fair share, and she's here to tell us more about how she managed to overcome them.
Yeah.
Judith,
Yes.
we were just marveling at the career that you've had.
Yeah.
But you've also released beautiful music over the years.
Yeah.
7 jazz and Afro soul
Yes.
albums. And then you gifted us with the gospel album.
Yes.
So why this little pivot? Why this pivot to gospel?
You know, I think I was in denial for a very long time. Let me tell you a story that I was telling in London when I was just in London now. I was singing A Cry, a Smile and a Dance years ago in Bloemfontein. I think it was one of the Makufe festivals, but they had the Divas event outside. And I sang A Cry, a Smile and a Dance. At the end of the song, it goes into a bit of a scat, but the scat turned out into something else, and the song could not end. In the middle of there, I think it was almost like I had bursted into tongues. And then I started, something overwhelmed me, and I started singing Sempete Wena Ya Ratehang, Pass Me Not, O Gentle Savior. And I sang that song, and I heard bottles dropping and people lifting their... Actually, when the lights went into the audience, everybody's hands were up, and it was such an amazing moment. But on that day, I thought, your media is going to crucify me. They will never talk about me. I will never release another album. But the comments that I got, and the love that I got, and the support was so overwhelming. But I was like, no, I'm not ready. I don't even know what I would sing about if I were to talk about Jesus. I don't know what I'd say. And then Benjamin Dube asked me to record with him, to collaborate with him on Oh Give Thanks. And I mean, the journey from those years to the moment of Oh Give Thanks was just something else. I had so much challenges, I promise you, so much challenges.
Yeah.
And we recorded Oh Give Thanks. It turned out the way it did. I don't even know what happened when we recorded that song, but the Spirit of God just took over me, and it came out the way it did.
Yeah, and then we have this beautiful album, My Worship.
My Worship.
But life hasn't just been about the fun
Yeah.
and creating all
Yeah.
of this music. There's also been a lot of loss.
Yeah.
Talk to me about you driving in Soweto, and when you had this,
Accidents.
this
with
accident.
You know what? I think that's something that's going to actually be, you know, a part of my life forever. And I used to say I'm not going to talk about it. But let me tell you, that woman, Ugogo, was from like, I think 2 weeks back.
Yeah.
She had been telling them that, you know what, mina ngiyahamba. I'm going. Unfortunately,
This is the pensioner that you...
this is the
that you bumped
pensioner.
on the
She was
road.
91 years old. You know, I promise you, the way it happened, I just touched her like that, because she crossed in, you know, in a place where I couldn't see her. And when it happened, and she did not die, she did not pass on instantly. I was with her the whole time, and I had to go find the family. But I promise you, that whole entire experience taught me so much, you know, that it doesn't matter who you are. That can happen to any one of us. But it's about how you take ownership, how you take responsibility of that, and realize what has happened. But one thing that I will tell you is, when I saw her first daughter, she said when I went to go, because we went with the police to go tell them that they had been looking for her. We didn't know who she was.
Right.
And when I got there, they said to me, they just looked at me once, and she cried and hugged me and said, my child, don't ever, ever think you killed her. And when she
a
said,
reaction you didn't expect.
I lost it, yeah. Because that's what I was thinking. I mean, I was thinking, oh my God, where am I, what happened, you know? And the good thing is they're Christians, and the way they just spoke into my life, the way they carried me until today, like the way we talk all the time, they check on me. They, like whenever they say hi, Sisunjan, I'm like, ooh, I haven't called them, let me call, you know. But they became such very close family members of mine.
From that day.
From that day.
But then 3 months later,
yeah,
you suffered another deep tragedy where you lost your young child in Valentle.
Imbalently. You know, it was actually, that was the third tragedy. The second one was when my car rolled about
In
6
Durban.
times. We were coming back from Durban.
Okay.
But nothing happened to us, you know, and Mbali was in hospital, and I was thinking, oh my God, what is this? All these things, you know what, it helps to know God. It helps to walk with God, guys. You know, God will never actually, you know, leave you, nor forsake you, as he says it in his word. At that point of need, he was right there. And I remember when Mbali died, I promise you, there's nothing as worse as losing a child when you're looking at her. You can see she's going, and you pray when it's her. It was her time. Mbali passed on, and the only thing that I could think of was, oh God, thank you. Those were my first words. Why those words? Because I had been with Mbali for about 3 months from the time she was born until the time that she passed on. And I had seen her, you know, fight for life, and I had been praying for her. I remember I had put a scripture, Psalm 91, on her incubator. And I was like, oh my God, this child is gonna live. And I saw her grow from this little thing to this big girl, chubby, dimples. And I was like, I don't even have dimples, girl. Oh, where did you get the dimples from? You know, but she was such a cute little girl, and she fought, and she got home and stayed with us for 3 weeks, only 3 weeks. But in that time, I mean, you listen to my song, Palesa,
which you dedicated to her.
I dedicated to her. It's such a positive, happy song, because that's exactly what she did for me. And now I treasure every Mbali that I meet. I love them. All the Palesas, I just love them, because you know what, she did all of us. I remember taking my kids and saying, you know what, we're not gonna mourn her, we're gonna just love her. Mourn her today as we're burying her, cry, throw yourselves on the floor, roll, whatever, but we're gonna move on from here, because otherwise it was gonna drag us down and destroy us.
Wow.
You know, not everybody has got the strength to move on like that, but I promise you. And then I took myself a trip. I was like, girl, thank you, you taught me so much, but I'm going on a holiday.
Go?
I went to Switzerland.
Just for a month,
I flipped the
on
map.
your own.
Yeah, I flipped the map. I was like, and I ended up in Switzerland, in a place where I realized that I needed to be there. It's called Zofingen. There was nobody. I was the only black person there. There were like 2 hotels, very small city. I went to the chocolate factory. I just, and then, my goodness, and then I came back. I came back with Palesa, the song Palesa itself. Yeah.
You had to heal.
I had to heal, and we heal differently as people.
Yes.
Some of us don't know how to heal. You know, it's hard for us, but I promise you it is possible. You know, it's easy for us to say it's mind over matter, but when you know God, you know, I'm talking about something that I'm living.
Absolutely.
God is the center of my being. He has helped me, he teaches me, he guides me, he shows me the way. You know, there are moments when I'm thinking, oh my God, how am I gonna pay for this? And boom, there it is. You know, he's always on time. He's never late or early. Never late or early. Always remember that about God.
Amen. Amen to that. Whew. Well, having to go through all and still be able to use those experiences in a positive way, the way Judith has had to, just shows how much of a phenomenal woman she is. Well, to hear more, make sure you stay with us. We'll see you after the break. Judith Sephuma has managed to get to the top and stay there seamlessly. And right now, we're going to find out what it takes to keep her engine running. So, Judith, we are nearly, we're getting to the end of our conversation, which saddens me. I know. So I want us to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
You've got one of your daughters here. She's 17.
Yeah.
And you're the mother of 5 children.
Yes.
That must be a crazy fun house.
It's crazy. All the kids are crazy, all of them. That's why I kicked them out this week. I said to them, everybody go.
Because it's your birthday on Friday.
It's my birthday on
Can
Friday, guys.
Please wish Judith a happy birthday come
yes,
Friday.
Yes, it is so special when everybody sends you messages,
Yes.
you know. So I said to them, everybody out of my house. So, except for this particular one that is here today. She said, Mommy, I'm coming back. I've got a job schedule you. I've got this. She came up with a whole lot of stories, so she came back. But I had one night to myself,
yes,
which is great. I will see them on Sunday, but I really don't want them. You see, as parents, sometimes we don't do this.
Yes.
It is so, so important. You need to say, for my birthday, I don't want you kids. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. No, let's go. I will see you. We'll have a mommy lunch on Sunday. So I'm doing exactly that.
Fantastic.
I'm going away somewhere.
Yes, because when they come back, you'll be sending them to no end.
Oh. WhatsApp messages. Get me that, get me that, get me that.
So I noticed your tattoos. You've got tattoos.
Yes.
Symbolic of anything significant?
They all are very symbolic. I'm a fun girl. I've got an elephant head here, and then I've got a snare drum for music. I've snared a microphone on this inside. I've got my, there's a flower here, and there's, what else is there? Okay, some of these are very they're symbolic. Now, there's one here for new beginnings because it was, when I knew that I was going to go through a divorce. I knew it before I went there. New beginnings. Yes. And then I think this one was free. I was just wanting something, it was just...
I thought it was just through Judith, but
no, I stopped, guys. I'm only 45 on Friday, so I've got to stop somewhere. And then there's another one. I can't tell you about that one.
That'll be your secret. That'll be your secret. But before we close off, listen to this. We've got a voice note, and of course, we invite people to participate.
Yes.
This is what someone sent us.
Hi Azania, hi Judith. I love this song of yours, the old CD. Fly away, my heart, don't despair. The world is full of joy. You cry, you smile, and you dance.
Oh, that's so bad attempt.
Thank you.
What's the score out of 10?
10 out of 10.
Oh, for effort.
10 out of 10 for effort. She got the lyrics right. She's confident. She's got it together. The voice is strong, and she can hold the note.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
So Judith, what's the one thing that you know for sure? Just in closing, with life, you're 45 on Friday. What would you say is the one thing you know for sure?
I am destined for greatness, and I have not even started.
Wow.
That's one thing I know for sure.
And take that from a woman who jumped out of an airplane, skydived to celebrate her 40th.
Yes.
So may there be many, many more adventures. Well, like they say, all good things have to come to an end, and our time with this powerhouse that is Judith Sephuma has ended. So Judith, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. And we hope that some of your best days are the ones that still are yet to come.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, do join us again tomorrow for some more Real Talk right here on SABC 3, where the stage is yours. From me and the rest of the team, it's good night.